Hey everybody, it's Ronnie. I recently decided to start a series of videos talking about some of the more unexplainable occurrences that I've experienced in my life that kind of have a supernatural twist to them. Um, these stories have come up in conversation a lot over my lifetime. I've shared them with many of my friends. Many of you who know me have undoubtedly heard these stories already, um, and I wanted to share them not to not to scare, but just to share. I think that there are a lot of people who experience unexplainable things in their life, and a lot of times people don't believe them. They're told that they have overactive imaginations, or that there's some logical explanation for it, or they're just made fun of because people don't believe them, and so a lot of people don't talk about it. So I thought it would be good to recount my experiences and kind of put it out there for people, maybe, to affirm other people. So, I don't know, I just felt like I wanted to share these stories. I like to write a lot about my experiences in my life, but generally the stories that I write about from my life have more of an uplifting sense to them, and these stories, because they're a little bit more unusual and a little bit more chilling, I thought it would be fun to share them verbally. So yeah, I decided to do it. So that was my decision, and um, this is the first story. So the first story took place in 1987. It was Christmas morning of 1987. I was 8 years old at the time, and as you'll find out in some of the other stories, a lot of my experiences, fortunately for me, I experienced them with other people. So I have other people who've had the same experience as me. They saw the same things. I have witnesses. So in this particular story, I experienced this with my little brother, who was Marshall, who was 5 at the time. And so we lived in a two-bedroom apartment with our mother, and across the hall from my bedroom was my mother's bedroom. And my brother and I shared bunk beds. So he had the bottom bunk, I had the top bunk. And at the foot of my bed was our bedroom door. And from my bedroom door, I could see the dining room table. And just trying to lay out the scene for you so you have a mental picture of what I saw. And anyway, so as I'm looking, I wake up. It's early Christmas morning. I mean, it's like before the sun has even come up. It's so early, and it's dark. But to the right of the table that I can see out of my bedroom door, to the right in the living room there was a sliding glass door, and from the sliding glass door there was light that was filtering into the apartment. And I think it was probably like street lamps, street lights, or like a porch light, or some kind of light outside that was, or like early morning light. I don't know. It was dark in the apartment, but there was enough light that I could see, objects in the room. And so I woke up really early. I'm in my bed, and I notice that around the dining room table there are these cloaked beings standing around the table. Now, they weren't very tall. They were just slightly taller than the actual table. And our Christmas tradition every year was to set out a plate of cookies and milk for Santa, right? So there's this plate of cookies, and I I'm I remember specifically 2 of these beings, but I'm almost certain there were 3. So I remember seeing one, the back of one had its back to me, and it was facing the table. And then to the right of that one, as the table curved, there was another being, and I saw that one's silhouette. And I believe that next to that one, across from the one that had its back to me, there was another one that was standing there. Anyway, I remember that they were standing, in one spot around the table, but they were actually moving. And they seemed to be inspecting the plate of cookies that was on the table. I know it sounds really strange, but this is what I saw. So the one that I saw with the silhouette, I could actually see its shape, and so it was wearing this sort of cloak, and they had like druid-like hoods, so these sort of long pointed hoods that kind of came back. It was kind of creepy, and it had this sort of long face, like a I don't know. It seemed like an animal, like a rat or something. I know, really bizarre. And I remember watching it. And they were sort of like sniffing. So I remember seeing the silhouette, sort of like inspecting the table, and it seemed to be sniffing the cookies. So I sat there and watched these things moving around for it seemed like the longest time. I was quite afraid, I was kind of in awe watching these things. So I worked up enough courage to crawl down to the bottom bunk. And I remember as I crawled down to the bottom bunk, I was really conscious not to look, because I didn't want to see them see me moving or something. So I crawled down to the bottom bunk, and I woke up my brother, and all I said to him was, "Do you see that?" You know? And he did. He did see it. And we kind of laid there huddling together for it seemed like the longest time, and we were both afraid, and we were absolutely mystified watching these things. We saw these things. These things were there. And so after some time of that, we figured, well, let's get up and go wake up Mom, and it'll be time to open presents, and we'll get up and open presents, and everything will be fine. So so we both got out of bed, and we went across the hall into her bedroom. And again, I remember specifically not looking. I didn't want to, we had to cross the hall, so we were sort of getting closer to where these things were. And I didn't look specifically because I didn't want to see them. So we went in and we woke up our mom. We said, Mom, it's Christmas morning, let's get up and open our presents. And to our chagrin and disappointment and horror, she sent us back to bed, which we didn't expect. We didn't anticipate that. So for some strange reason in our child state, we didn't have the I don't know, we just didn't have the foresight to say, Mom, there are things around the table. We're afraid. We didn't say anything. Probably because we knew it sounded ridiculous and that she wouldn't believe us anyway. So she sent us back to bed. And I will never forget, for as long as I live, going from her bedroom back into my bedroom. I actually did look. As I was going across the hall, I looked at the dining room table, which was directly across from me, and as long as I live, I will never forget this image, because the silhouette of the creature with the hood, it actually turned and looked at me, and as it turned, I remember the shape of the hood and the shape of the long face turning, and then I could no longer see, it was just a sort of a hooded shadow, right? So I didn't actually see any facial features, but I just remember the shape of that creepy hood turning and looking at me, and that was one of the most disturbing things I think I've ever seen. Sent chills up and down my back, and I still remember it. So my brother and I crawled back into bed together and watched these things. They were still there, and somehow we fell back to sleep. And of course, when we woke up, the sun was up, they were gone. We opened presents, we told our mom, and of course she did not believe us. We told all the adults in our family. Nobody believed us. It was kind of a running joke. The adults all made a joke that we saw Santa's elves, And I remember the following Christmas, my brother and I had the idea that we were going to stay up and see if we could see these things again and figure out what they were, and of course we didn't. We felt, we didn't stay up, and we never saw them again. I never saw anything like that before or since, and that was 25 years ago, and I still remember it like it was yesterday. My little brother still remembers it. We both talk about it. The only difference in our stories is that I distinctly remember pointed hoods. My brother says that they were wearing sort of hats that looked like baker hats, like these tall hats. Other than that, our stories are the same. He was 5, I was 8. And I've actually done some research online, reading, there's some websites where people can write about their true life ghost stories or supernatural paranormal experiences, and I've come across 3 stories where people describe very similar entities that are kind of short, with these cloaked figures, dark cloaks with pointed hoods and pointed faces, and I've also done a lot of research and reading up on UFO abduction, and it's much more rare in the UFO world, but I have come across 2 accounts of people who have been abducted or claim to have been abducted, who have described like the exact same thing that I saw, minus the pointed face. But those abductions dealt with the Greys. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with those stories. Anyway, I don't know what it was. I don't know if they were UFO aliens. I don't know if they were ghosts. I don't know if they were demons. I don't know if they were, traveling interdimensional beings. I have no idea what they were. There's no explanation, and that's what's interesting about it, is that it's kind of a mystery. So anyway, I wanted to share that, and I look forward to my next video. I'll be sharing another story, and alright, that's it.